Welcome to the Cash Game World Championships on Coin Poker. We're getting straight into the hand history breakdowns today. Our very own KakiTee is joined by two very special guests. We've got Sunni92 and Dejan K breaking down the hands. Let's get into it.
Man, it's so funny to go over these hands because almost every hand is someone that I'm friendly with. It's such a small community.
What do you guys think about this flop spot? Is this a decision here?
For imposition? In terms of raising or calling?
Yeah, because so many rough turns, right? Like any overcard is kind of amazing for the out of position guy to continue barreling. Whereas this hand also does have a backdoor straight draw for the times that you're wrong. So I'm curious if it's raisable and what the split might look like.
I personally think it's really depends on how you think the out of position plays. I think there's like a lot of different stuff happening. I know there's like some guys not really raising here at all, and there's like some guys raising a bunch. I think having a raising range becomes like really good, especially with this hand, if you think that out of position is like c-betting too much. Because I would imagine that this board's not gonna be a range bet if you have the proper preflop ranges preflop. So the more he starts betting, the better your raise gets. I don't think this is like a mandatory raise at all. What you're saying is for sure true. If I was having a raising range here, I would start with ace 10, and then the next 10 that I would raise is probably 10-9 and 10-8. So like the best ones, and then the ones that benefit the most from equity denial. I think in theory, this main action is gonna be call, and then maybe a slither of raising with this hand, and then a bit more raising with like 10-9, and then a decent amount of raising, I guess, with like an okay amount of raising with ace 10 and pocket jacks. If you think that the guy is betting like his entire range on this flop, you could make a case for sure, like raising this hand like in a vacuum every single time. Like why not? But yeah.
Are you guys spoiled on these hands? Like not the ones including Deki, obviously.
No, I don't know about this hand.
No.
I would never raise this hand, and I think it's hard to see bet too much when it's gonna be almost a range bet, or it's gonna be bet super often.
The c-betting frequency is gonna be very high, but then let's say even if you're supposed to check like 25 or 30% of the time, the out of position guy is like the hands that really, there's a couple of hands that really want to check always because they don't really have like much going on for them, especially when you have like a lot of offsuited stuff from the BB. So if you start over c-betting with hands that don't really have a lot of potential, let's put it like that, you start running into problems when imposition starts raising, for sure. I also would agree that it's like obviously like range betting is going to be fine, but the more the out of position guy range bets, I think the better raising kind of becomes. That's
Deki,
just naturally how it works.
Deki, you said you wouldn't raise this at all, but would you raise ace 10 like Sunny was suggesting earlier would be his first choice?
So 100 deep, I would you can raise ace 10 and pocket jacks, but this is 135 deep, and then I don't want to raise fold it, and I don't want to raise get it in. So 135 deep, I would just. I think I would go a bit higher up. I think 135. I think it's more gonna be queens that raise. But yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
For what it's worth, I'm also not claiming that it's like mandatory to have a racing range here with like ace 10 and 10-9. I would just think that if you start having a racing range, then these hands are the first one that you probably pick, and obviously like pocket jacks.
So is this like 60%, 60% kind of thing? 2/3 twice? He's just gonna fire all three. And this hand's gonna call river here. What like what's a good question to ask here? I guess of your tens, which one is unfoldable snap call?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not sure if there is like on this runout this deep if there's like any 10 that is like an unfoldable snap call, because like every 10 is a bluff catcher, right? Because like you never, even ace 10, out of position really can't play it that way. So his value threshold is a check or better. Therefore, not sure if there is like 10x at this SPR that is like super unfoldable snap call. I would imagine in game you would just think of like what's the guy's bluffing range, or like what's the guy's bluffing range supposed to look like, and then try to figure out what are the best 10s to call with, and then call with those more often than others. I would imagine having a queen or a king is not like super ideal, because you don't want to block those kind of hands, which should be his main like triple barrels. In the sense it's gonna be like king queen very often. So I would probably prefer having ace 10 or 10-8. Maybe 10-8 is even slightly better than 10-9 because of queen 9 and king 9. And the 8 really don't block. The 8 doesn't really block that many bluffs. Yeah,
just
so
9-8 and maybe
yeah,
queen 8 as well, but that's just very little.
yeah. I would think that ace 10 and then like 10-8, 10-9 is the best, and then king 10, queen 10 is kind of the worst. Probably a queen or queen 10 will be for sure the worst, because there's a world where out of position is gonna be bluffing ace queen here, but he's never bluffing ace king. So a queen is also then reasonably worse than a king. Can imagine.
I'm not 100% that out of position never bluffs ace king, but
There's a
Yeah,
chance. There's a chance
I
that
think
this 10
yeah.
is the best 10. Is kind of what you're
Yeah.
saying, also, right?
yeah, you also want to think about blocking the suited jack 10, right? Which let's say 10-8 of spades wouldn't be doing. Then also we block 10-6, which could be a 3-bet preflop as well. Yeah, I think this is as far as 10x goes, this is a pretty good one.
Would you call it an
Yeah.
unfoldable snap call, though?
No, not at all. I think it's just a low or medium frequency call on the river.
That's
For
unfortunate.
what it's worth, though, I think that ace 10 is still gonna be the best, right? Because with ace 10, you probably block the least amount of bluffs. Even if he bluffs ace queen and then maybe ace king some of the times, I would imagine ace king not really. You're still blocking aces, which is gonna be in there very often too.
And ace jack tripling off as well, Sunny? Or?
Ace jack also, yeah. Ace jack also, yeah. So I would think that ace 10 is probably the best, and then the next best is gonna be 10-8, 10-9, and then also what Deki said, clubs seem very good. Also hearts seem very good. Yeah. So I think if you want to make it like very simple, or like the way you should probably do it is fold with a queen, probably fold with a king, and then just call ace 10, and then call like 10-8, 10-9 with very good suits.
Let's vote on bluff or no bluff.
Yeah, I was going to say.
We should have done that from the start.
I go that he has it. I think he's got the queens.
I go with bluff. I go with bluff. Like I say, king. We find, what do we find here? We find the queen 9 of hearts.
I think Marinelli is down like 10-15 by.
Yeah, I mean
this
is cheating.
decision.
This is cheating.
Yeah.
It has to be. I mean, I just know, so I cannot like forget it. So
Your vote is null and void, then, sir. Oh.
Oof.
Nice hand. Deki got talked out of it. But he'll claim it's running bad. Because he made the perfect guess.
I mean, he has a I don't know, optimistic turn barrel.
You guys just, out of interest, deuces with the heart here, pure stab? Like, how good of a stab is this hand?
It's very good. I would guess it's almost purish, maybe definitely pure with the double suit, and then
And what
well,
kind of sizing
I
strategy would you use in this three-way?
Yeah, I would imagine like if you want to play very accurate, you're still just betting polar here. Whether this is like 75 or pot, I think on this board structure, even multi-way, you're still just gonna be betting very polar, and then you just bet big on flop, and then deuces also should probably bet big.
Where polar would be ace queen plus, or we're talking even stronger?
I think the main value betting range should be stronger, and then you occasionally can have like ace queen for sure. That's fine. But I would think that you probably want to have like 2 per pass here for betting big.
75 minutes.
so this is why double suit is better. You get a clean set on every run out if you hit.
Thoughts on the turn pot barrel?
Yeah, the turns, it's a pretty good turn for the undergun player, let's say. So I think with double suits, it's probably nice. And then I think you have to be somewhat careful on the turn for sure, that you're not getting carried away here. Because like out of position now has a lot of combos of ace king too. It's also double flush draw, so there's a lot of high equity hands that he can defend. I think deuce is gonna make it in there some of the time, but I think especially when the turn is like pretty good for out of position, you have to be somewhat careful with your 3 quinces. So just like throwing this one out there, and then yeah, you have to for sure RNG with like the pocket pairs that you were betting the turn with. And then I guess the size is gonna be fine. Like you're still just repping kind of the nuts, right? Just
But
repping.
we are repping so thin, right? Ace
Yeah,
6,
like
very clear check back, and then even ace jack
yeah.
can check back. So we are saying, hey, we have 6-6 or queen 10, which we only have suited. So
Yeah, like
uh,
yeah, I think you also have pocket checks, right? You have like sixes, jacks, and then queen 10, and then maybe like occasionally you can bet ace jack on the turn. That's fine, but that's what I'm trying to say is like if you're betting the flop reasonably, or like if you're betting the flop at an okay frequency, and now ace jack and ace 6, not really happy about this turn. Just have to be careful that you're not betting like deuces, 2 5s, and every 6 that you were betting on the turn every single time.
yeah, very hard to not get carried away here. Because every hand is a nice bluff, and that's just the no equity hands that we mentioned. We also have 10-9 of hearts, queen 9 of hearts.
Sure, yeah.
That sounds like you might check those back based on your earlier hand there, Deki. And then on the river, is this an interesting or decent bluff due to the fact that you also unblock a lot of the weak hands that Shiley could continue on the turn? Or is it like just full spew mode here?
I mean, ideally, you have some pocket pairs with the club, and then I would imagine that those are gonna be enough because you don't really have that many value bets on the river. Like your threshold's gonna be sets plus maybe ace jack. I'm not
But
sure.
that was your whole turn value range anyway, right?
Sorry, like no, there's no way that ace jack. No, sorry, my bad. This is like he bets turn, right? For a second I thought we were in
I
delay.
mean, even pocket 6s without the club.
Yeah.
I mean, it might check, right? Like
Yeah. I was just in completely wrong note here. For a second, I
and
thought,
also ace-x is uncovered, so Shilai has infinite ace-x of clubs. So this is really not a appealing spot to bluff.
yeah, I think here in this one you just want to have pocket pairs with the club that block like ace 4 of clubs, ace 3 of clubs, ace deuce of clubs.
So hands
think
that block one value combo would be gone too here.
Yeah.
Anyway, he torches it off, I guess.
I mean, even this like one combo, it's extra few percent fold equity. It's enough to make a hand a very profitable bluff compared to blocking one more extra fold, right? In the no limit in these tight range spots.
Also, something that's like important here is like we're playing like hold'em 6 max with no ante. we have 3-way on the flop, and we face big size flop, big size turn, and then big size river. So ranges are getting like mega filtered to the river when it's not like we're playing like BBB, single raise pot, or big blind button where there's like a million combos you're dealing with. So blocking one snap call or like one auto call is not that bad, right? Like we're talking about like very few amount of total combos that we're gonna be arriving to the river with, kind of for both players. So if you're blocking like one hand, that makes, let's say you can choose between pocket deuces that have a club and pocket deuces that don't have a club. Like the pocket deuces that don't have a club, they don't block anything, they don't do anything for you. Obviously, it's very hard to check back deuces on the river because you have like 0% pot share. There's like no way you can ever win. But blocking one combo when you have like extremely filtered ranges is very, very valuable in those kind of nodes.
How are you guys doing on time, by the way?
I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm fine for like 1 or 2 more hands.
Nice.
All right.
Okay.
So far, pretty standard.
Okay, so it's just a river decision. Are we going to see like mostly... Oh, this is a spicy river. I was going to say we're going to see mostly jams after check, but on this card, I don't think we're going to be seeing a shove that often, right? What kind of sizing would we expect to see here?
Well, thinking of the flop raising range for out of position is still quite polar, right? So like you have a good king or a set. So I wouldn't rule it out. Like let's say pocket deuces probably wants to jam on the river. I could imagine that there's like some 8x in there. I think there's like multiple sizes that out of position could and probably should also play on river. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised to see like pretty much any sort of sizing, I guess. Yeah.
Would NFD after check raising mostly check on the turn?
No, I think mainly combo draws would check to check jam, but not flush draws mainly. But
Yeah.
Okay. But what
you
about...
don't want to get you don't want to bet fold a combo draw, right? But you can bet fold a not flush draw. But in position is not gonna shove almost ever when we B75, so we can just bet a lot. I think in position just goes into bluff catch mode because out of position can have some lower equity hands like 7-8 of hearts or pocket fives with the club. Yeah.
Alright, let's see what he does. He's going to block. And Yuan Roman, I guess this wouldn't be an interesting hand if he clicked call.
Yeah.
So he's going to decide to bluff with this hand. Thoughts on that? For the whole enchilada as well.
Yeah, so these combo draws that we said might check queen jack, queen 10, he blocks quite well. Here it yeah.
Is it a problem that he blocks king queen, which might be one of the weakest value bets for Jarsam's
Yeah,
river
I don't
sizing?
think this is ideal. That's for sure true.
But he just blocks one, right? King queen of hearts because Ivan folds king queen offsuit pre-flop.
Of course.
So,
of course.
I don't think this is like crazy. I think this could be or should be probably frequency play for imposition, and seems. I would imagine that maybe pocket checks could be slightly better than pocket queens because you do block more of the, let's say, these type of hands that Deki was mentioning earlier. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Is ace queen offsuit with a club after c betting? Is it peeling the raise?
With ace of clubs for sure. Queen of clubs probably also sometimes. I think depending on how, I think the raise was also not like super massive, so I think you're for sure calling sometimes. Yeah, I think you're for sure calling sometimes here with that raise.
It looks like a smallish raise.
Usually just bets turn for in position. So
yeah, this is true. Like this hand, I think if you have ace queen, you for sure bet the turn. Like always.
So he's kind of just left with these tens
Yeah.
through queens with the club to bluff this, and he's gonna check back a flush draw quite often on the turn or pocket kings. So yeah, he has quite a few value bets.
Okay.
And
And
then
Oh, man.
what's
in reality, which one is better? Like, do you use pocket queens? Do you use pocket jacks? Do you use pocket tens? I mean, I guess like in Pyre, you just like using them all sometimes.
Yeah, I think tens have to be the best because 10-9, Jack 10, Queen 10, and then Ace 10 of clubs as well.
Yeah, that's I agree.
Yeah, I mean, judging by results and stuff, Ivan wins this one, right? Ace, Ace King off call.
Yeah, well,
Or
that's the one hand that comes to mind, right? So he's going to flat sometimes Ace King offsuit pre-flop, and then he probably block bets it all day. If he doesn't have a club, is this a tough spot? Is it a fold frequency? How would you feel in this spot with Ace King, just no club?
I think it's gonna be like without a club, it's gonna be quite rough, but you probably have to call some of the time for sure. Because if you think about like the river betting range for out of position, given how this hand played out, it's gonna be ace king and king queen like mainly, and then like the occasional trap, right? So I don't think you'll be getting away with just only calling with like very good hands here. Given that you also play
Yeah.
like other sizes, I would
Yeah,
imagine.
that's what makes it tricky for sure, right?
So I think that if you have like a good catcher here, you probably just mainly call. And then you might have to take the occasional look with ace king of no club.
If we're Jarsam, we can't have KK, right? So what's like a good, what's the strongest hand in this value bet sizing for him, considering that he would jam probably with like deuces and nut flush?
I think if you play sizing split on the river, then you just have to be a good boy and then put in like some flushes sometimes in the small betting range. And that's pretty much it. If you don't do this, then like let's say you mainly jam flushes and then your value betting range is like king queen ace king on river, you for sure have to call like sometimes with ace king. If you're trying to be like really balanced, you just have like snap calls with like some nut flushes that, or like not nut flushes but like flushes in general that you trap. Which ones are the best here? Like probably kind of all over the place, I would imagine. And yeah, then you have like ace king left, and then you probably just flick it in sometimes with ace king if you think that the guy is like bluffing enough here. Or always if you think that the guy is like completely out of line, because also very kind of easy to get carried away if in position when you have like pocket tens, pocket jacks, pocket queens. There's like no way that you can always bluff here, so probably just make up your mind. If you think that guy is over bluffing, just always call. If you think the guy is under bluffing, you just fold. If you think that the guy is like somewhat in the middle of that, then I guess you just have to frequency call, probably on the lower side with the ace king no club, and move on.
there's this challenge equity as well, right? Like, this is the second hand we seen from Juan Roman, and obviously these hands are biased towards insanity, but it's still in the challenge you are much likelier to see insane bluffs than in the real world in every node. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe even just range calls here. King queen of nothing.
Yeah, well, I mean, he could even choose the
7-8
sizing.
of hearts.
He could even choose the sizing, right? Assuming he induces from queens, tens, and jacks, and his opponent will be over the top with the frequency.
For sure.
Yes.
Right.
Let's go.
Well, we'll never know whether the guy frequency called or just.
Yeah, Deki, you got to stop looking at the results before you guess the hand.
No, I didn't see this hand. Obviously, I know that Ivan is up infinite in the challenge.
No, that's what I
but,
meant. You got to stop checking the score sheet. Here we go into an unknown hand, featuring Track Maniac, who Deki was just wondering who that is, and it's Andy Wilson, aka Bowie Effect.
No, it was me wondering.
Oh, Sunny wondering. Sorry.
Yeah.
Any thoughts
Alright.
here?
So first of all, this is anti just for the viewers. So ranges are a bit wider, obviously. Yeah, just similar to 2-6 max no limit, heavy check on this board. There's not a lot of hands that wanna put money in on this dynamic of a board.
Okay. So what kind of check frequency would you expect most people to play in this situation?
Like 80%, 70, 80.
Yeah, I would imagine even like on anti games, like 6 max cash players, a lot of them would just range check flop for what it's worth. Could be wrong though, but would imagine that that's gonna be the case.
And Deki gonna stab large here. What's the logic behind a large versus a smaller stab when you're seeing a high check frequency?
So there's no, since it's a ace high board, there's no random protection bets this deep. So I'm mainly betting. My betting range is built around good ace-x or better. So need to size for that instead of sizing for king 9 or ace 4. It's just
Yeah. Also,
smaller
could
range,
could
big
think
size.
that like the might be even bigger size preferred, but anything in that likelihood is probably gonna be fine.
And say you bet an ace jack offsuit, no spade, and you faced a check raise. Is this foldable, like considering your stabbing range, or what's the deal with a hand like that?
So there's not much check raising going on when you face a big stab here. Even ace 6, like pure call, ace 9 also heavy call, I guess. So it's a very small check raise range for out of position.
Yeah, I would even go as far as thinking that in theory there might not be any raises versus like super big size here. Could be different with let's say should be different with some humans, I guess. But I also don't think there's like much raising going on.
Is the idea behind that just to protect, like, the kings through tens and other shit that you're trying to get to showdown, or where does that logic come from?
Yeah, well, I think that on flop, ace jack off is already supposed to be bet like at very little frequency if we're in position. So if you start raising for out of position here with, let's say, ace king, and you're putting in more and more money, like the stack of thresholds for in position gonna get like very narrow, and therefore like value parts of check raising is gonna has to be higher, right? Has to be 2 pairs plus. And then you're open raising like super wide, and you have a lot of hands that want to call, and in position is kind of wrapping like very strong range to begin with. So the value threshold is gonna be like let's say 2 pairs plus, and I don't think that ace king has a lot of incentives here to raise.
Okay, so based on what you guys are saying, he's likely going to just check call.
Yeah.
And turn, I don't imagine, unless it's a board pair, donking it would be an option. But any hand in his range, is that kind of how it goes these days? I see a lot of donking on pairs, but not really on any other cards.
Yeah, I think just on an ace, I think it would be nice to donk 10%. Because now I have a lot of air, he has less air, so he wants to make the pot slightly bigger and give himself the chance to win the pot. Let's say he donks 10-8, and I have to fold some of my air. So yeah, he on a 9, I think maybe bigger donks. Yeah, like, but not sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
not sure about the bigger dunks on a 9 either.
So back to that suggestion to donk 10%. I've heard this be called a pot stun from Linus and their group. Is this actually like a solver thing that just happens, or is it like something that's just good against human?
No, it's a solver thing that happens for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
But probably works better with humans as well than it should.
All right, nice. Well, let's see what you do here, being the hero in this hand. Oh, you're going to check back. You capped, mate. And now, I mean, from this wash player's perspective, like a 9 of diamonds hand looks kind of check raisable as a bluff here. Seems like kind of a key card. Or do you see any other reason to do a different action?
So first of all, let's maybe see what happened in the hand, so we can talk about it.
Okay, so we're going to see something
Um,
spicy, are we?
um, so yeah, first of all, my size on the river is inaccurate. I should either half pot or overbet, right? Like half pot for my ace jack, ace 10 that I check back turn, and then overbet for flushes and pocket tools, I guess. So yeah, I just kind of went with the catch all into 75. Yeah, so Bowie, I guess, made the same mistake in thinking as you did. Here, a lot of his flushes are 9x of diamonds, right?
Okay, yeah.
But or but like maybe not most, like almost all of them, right? 9x or 6x of diamonds. He has some 10-8, 7-8 as well. But for bluffing, even though all of his flushes are 9x, it makes zero sense to bluff a 9 of diamonds because I'm not stabbing the flop often with 9x, like jack 9, queen 9, I'm just checking. So he has the most fake blocker of all time.
Uh-huh.
Sure, he's matching his value bets, but he's not removing any of mine value bets, which is what you want to do in this spot. So yeah, this was a like 10 or 20 BB mistake from him.
Oh, crazy.
I mean, his hand is basically the same as queen 9 of hearts, right? If I'm never stabbing 9x on the flop, then his hand is the same as having no diamond, and then he yeah.
I mean, there's
You
there's a potential. There's a potential world where 9 of diamonds is okay-ish. I guess you could have 9-8 and 9-7 of
9
diamonds
7, yeah.
specifically, but then also 9-8, 9-7. You could make a case for betting turn again because there's like some nice merging going on with those hands. So there's a couple, like a very limited amount of hands that you can have, but then you're also flatting the button, so you're kind of limited in combos anyways. I guess ideally out of position is bluffing something like pocket queens on the river, something like this.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's too crazy to use his hand for what it's worth.
On that point about potentially barreling the turn with like the 9-7, 9-8, or 5-6, 6-7 of diamonds, those kind of hands, why do you not, Deki, consider, well, I guess you considered it, but why do you not barrel the 8-7 of diamonds here?
So like we said, that he has no incentive to check raise ace king on the flop, but he would have a incentive to check raise it on the turn, or pocket kings with a spade as well. So with the hand that I have, which is a mega huge draw, I would prefer to realize my equity and bluff something with lower equity. Yeah, I don't want to get blown off my equity. That was my thinking in game. The solver was actually just bet folding it quite often as well.
For an overbet out of interest?
Yeah.
Pretty sick. But yeah, that's some nice explanation, man, about the 9 of diamonds, the old like that was my impulse, probably the same for Bo. Is like, this seems like a good card to check raise with. But yeah, it's nice to hear how somebody breaks down a hold'em hand so specifically. Just going back to the flop stab of that, if you had 9x backdoor, it doesn't really make that much sense to start betting, or any 9 really for that matter. And
I
I
mean,
guess
he could also just been baited by the 75 because he would expect Deki to bet flushes bigger. So maybe he thought it was like custom size for ace check specifically, which I guess even ace check no diamond or like ace queen no diamond on the river might be very thin in this node to value bet without a
I don't
diamond.
think so. I don't think so versus humans, because why would he trap this run out, right?
where you're capped.
I mean, I completely agree that versus humans, it's let's say you might be able to get away with value betting a bit thinner, but You know, it's easy to get carried away when you see 75 and the guy could potentially use 150 or even like jam or whatever. You know, you have all possible options here, and you choose to bet 75. It's easy to to try and punish the guy, you know, for being a bit too lazy. But
Do you think that that's what Bowie would be thinking, though? Like, I'm just assuming that MTT players don't study specific sizings in 100 BBD river nodes, you know, as much
no,
as.
I think it's very hard to like be clairvoyant on how like out of position is, or like Bowie thinks about the spot here. He could just think 9 of diamonds is like matching his value, which is true. But then on the other hand, as Deki said, it's not blocking that many value bets from in position. But he could also be sitting there and he's like, yeah, this guy is trying to squeeze out some extra juice and is going extra thin here, so might as well punish this guy. And he's value betting flushers for a bigger size, and then it gets very difficult for in position to defend if, you know, your B75 is only top pair type of hands and never a flush. But
Yeah, it's sick how that kind of stuff still happens in the game. Like, you guys must take advantage of that, or occasionally get taken advantage of in spots like that. Because it's very old school, you know, where you just like, you have a read on the guy based on the sizing.
Well, it really depends on who you play against, I would say. But there's for sure some guys out there like cheating a lot, and if you can get behind that, it's a very good exploit you can come up with.
One more for the road?
Sure,
Yeah.
can do.
Barak. So Barak can call or raise.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't pause
the raise. No, good.
4 or raise makes a lot of sense. Donk on turn? Kind of interesting. Check, check,
not
river.
really.
3. So 3 threes on the board. We're gonna see bluff. I think
Raise,
I've seen the result of this. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I guess let's go back to the decision to jam. What do you think he's thinking when he sees this?
I think like this is a bit wild. I would imagine that he thinks that Davy is probably going to thin for value here, or like is not raise calling enough. Like, this is the way I would see it about this one. Cause yeah, I also like I gotta be honest, like this node. This is, even if you look at this in Pio, you probably don't really find the perfect solution, because like ranges will be a bit different than what they're supposed to look in this exact node. I imagine you probably, if there's like somehow higher cards that you could possibly have for out of position is better, like you want to somehow probably block a hand like pocket aces or pocket kings that's slow played and now is like a potential catcher. Yeah,
maybe
mean,
like
this
king
is
4, maybe king 4, so you can block. Maybe you only wanna bluff here as Barak if you double block Davy's snap calls, and the only way to do this is to have a 4 and a straight flush card.
yeah,
but
maybe ace
I
4.
guess,
Ace 4 actually could be a good hand to do this with. I think ace 4.
yeah,
should be
but
fine.
certainly not this. I think not a random hand. I think Davy can check back. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, this hand is way above my pay grade. I feel like
Yeah.
we're we're maneuvering in territory where I don't know
think
what to comment.
Yeah. This is not a Barak wasn't thinking here about suits and blockers. He was just thinking,
Yeah.
if I put it 11k, I'm gonna take this 5k from the pot back.
Yeah.
Um,
I think this
yeah.
can't be the only explanation, right? He just thinks that bluffing any 2 cards is gonna be profitable, and then here we go. Like, this is how I would feel about this one. Maybe can take a look at this later in Pio and get proven wrong, and queen 6 of diamonds is the absolute nut combo to bluff, but I would be very surprised if that that is true.
I think David just wants to call when he blocks suited 3x. So if he has like some spades or 7-4 of spades, I don't know if he raises that in the first place, but yeah, David just wants to block 3x. But I don't know, man. These hands, it's kind of there's not enough time to think about blockers at all. Like me and
Yeah.
Sunny are here for 2 minutes and we have no idea. And in game you have 20 seconds. So in game it's a lot more about, is this guy gonna believe me that I have quads or
Yeah.
a straight flush or not? And
Let
think
me
about your.
ask you a hypothetical question. Maybe just talk about your own experience if you've ever done this. So say you're in Barak's spot here, you've bet the river, you decided it's a good enough hand to bluff. Davey raises you, but you noticed that Davey has no time bank on this table. Do you ever go for the, like, all right, let's put him in a fucked spot? Has this happened for you guys in your career? Like knowing your opponent has a 0-second time bank and trying to fuck with them as a result?
I never in my life looked at someone's time bank, but if I had enough brain space to think about this, then yeah, definitely bluffing someone with 0 time bank would be much better than. With
I
the
mean,
time bank.
I do agree with this one, but it's very hard to come up with this in game. I think
It's
yeah,
disappointing. I
bluffing
was
for sure
hoping you
better
guys
if
would have done that already and talk about it a bit. That sounds like a fun thing to try and do.
Yeah, the problem is usually, especially in the GG games back in the days, like time banks are like very long, or like time banks usually very like they have decent amount of time banks. There is barely a case where you really run out of time bank, and then it's also very hard to notice that this guy like ran out of time banks. Maybe nowadays it's a bit easier with the new GG time banks, but then there is no high stakes games anymore, so you're just playing versus guys that are like 15 tabling all day on GG 2K. I mean, if Barak is here and saw that Davey has no time bank and is now decided to always jam this hand, and then yeah, this is what I'm saying. Is like couldn't get there. I couldn't get there.
Yeah, it's just a fun concept, really. It also depends what kind of player they are. If they're like a spewy clicker, they're the kind of person who'll call because they have 0 seconds, and if they're a nit, they'll fold every time. But he's gonna call him with like full random
KK
kongs.
0 3x blockers,
Yeah.
0 straight flush blockers. So yeah, if you think this is a bad catcher, right? He blocks actual 0 value, like no straight flush, no 3x, and he's
Yeah,
still
but
called.
I think on
And
the other hand,
Well, he had 0
Yeah,
second
I-
time bank left, Deki. He had to click something, you know?
uh, but then on the other hand, let's say on the river you're raising like everything that kind of beats for maybe like some pocket pairs. So like let's say you raise pocket eights plus, right? For value versus the 75 when you check back the turn. I think if you're only calling like nut suits of like AA and KK, you're probably not like calling enough, right? So
no,
you
I
have
think you can call aces because Barak has ace 3 off. But
Sure.
Kings are just yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
this is what we are saying. These spots in Barak's spot, he just bluffed. He thought that Davey was called. There was 0 blocker thinking, and Davey was just like, I call because I think Barak is bluffing. Both guys had bad blockers, and both guys called. So yeah, Barak also has 0 blockers to suited 3x, right? It wouldn't be impossible for Davey to check back queen 3 or
sure.
6-3
Yeah.
on the turn.
Maybe
So
maybe
this
maybe
is an
that is
absolute
actually the best.
straight
Like
hand.
just maybe if you use like a spade hand or whatever of a 3 that could potentially check back the turn sometimes, or like high cards. But then the problem with the high cards is that Barak is really never bluffing an ace on the river, right? So you can't really have an ace. You can have ace 4, maybe ace 5, that's fine. You can use those hands. I think maybe ace 5 seems also okay. But then maybe using like a spade hand if you want to start things off, and then use like, I don't know, king 5 of spades if you bluff that on the river, I guess. Maybe like queen 5 of spades. Maybe some hands like this, maybe 7-5 of spades, like something that could potentially block like some 3x of imposition. That would actually make a decent amount of sense.
Maybe the hard blockers and the 4 blocker is
Yeah,
not
I
that
like the
relevant.
4-5 off. That was a nice one. The ace 4 off. I thought
Yeah.
they were cool, but I mean that's not many hands, you know.
Sure. But then
two hands or
then
whatever.
also wrapping quads on a board where you check raising infinite amount of 3x on the flop already. Like you don't have quads that often on the river, so you also don't
Yeah.
need
I mean,
that
we
many
can
hands to
also
win.
shove 4-4, right? Like that's our lowest
Yeah,
value.
sure. 4-4 is also
By
fine.
the way, what do you guys think here? My read here is that this works progressively better as the stakes get bigger. I think at 200k NL, this has way more fold equity than at 10k,
I
especially
would agree with
between
this.
these two guys.
Yeah.
Especially between these two guys, where they have infinite binds for 10k. So it's there's this spot is kind of it's kind of not the best to bluff because there's zero money pressure. It's just yeah, Davey can just close his eyes and call whatever he thinks he should call. There's no like 200k to call, mate.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Barak's playing the big brain game and he just wants to set Davey up in the future. You know, invest a
I
little
think Barak-
1,000 EV loss.
I think Barak must have got this through infinite times in the big jig.